Hey, what's going on guys? Carlos is with Wirefly, and in this video I'm going to review for you guys the Verykool SL5000, also known as the Quantum. Let's get started. The SL5000 is the first phone by Verykool that supports 4G LTE connectivity and also has the latest version of Android 4.4 KitKat. Immediately, the first thing you will notice on this phone is the design. Yes, it looks like a phone from the Samsung Galaxy line, but it's not. It actually feels better in the hand than the Samsung Galaxy phone. Feels sturdier and a bit heavier. It's a glossy finish all the way around, but it's not slippery. It's actually kind of tacky, so it doesn't slip out of your hand that easy. So build quality on this phone is pretty good. Let's take a look around the phone. The front has a 5-inch display. No, it's not an HD display, it's just a VGA display that is actually not that bad. You can't really make out the pixels unless you really want to look for them, and has pretty nice colors. Above the display is the 2-megapixel front-facing camera, the light sensor, and a speaker grill. The speaker is actually pretty loud, so you won't have any volume issues while making phone calls. Below the display are the usual Android capacitive touch buttons. They are not in the usual spot. Normally the back button would be on the left-hand side, but you get used to them pretty fast. On the right-hand side of the phone is the power on and off button, which gives you pretty good feedback when you press on it. The bottom part of the phone has a microphone and the micro USB charging port. You can use it to charge the device or to transfer files. The left hand side has a volume rocker, which also gives you nice feedback when you press on them, and the top only has a 3.5mm headphone jack. And no, the gray bar going all the way around the phone is not metal, it's just plastic. If we move on to the back of the phone, which is removable, we can see the camera, which is an 8-megapixel camera. Not the best camera, but I've seen worse. Next to it is an LED flash that gets decently bright, and towards the bottom is the speaker, which gets really loud. Since we are in the back of the phone, let's go ahead and remove the back. Like I mentioned earlier, this phone has a really sturdy feel to it, so taking the back of the phone is a bit challenging. You have to go all the way around snapping off the little clips, but once you have it removed, you can see the 2000 milliamp battery. The battery life on this phone is okay. I'll talk a bit more about battery life later. Above the battery is a SIM card slot. You can pretty much insert any SIM card there. Even if you have your micro SIM, you can still use an adapter and put it on there. This phone is unlocked, so you can use it pretty much anywhere in the world. It's not a dual SIM phone, so you only have space for one SIM card. Next to it is your micro SD card slot, so you can expand your memory. You can expand it up to 64 gigabytes, and besides that, you have only 2 gigabytes of internal memory. So let's put the back of the phone back on and talk about some specs. This phone has a quad-core 1.2 GHz processor with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor. So by that, you can tell it's not the fastest phone out there. It's more like a mid-range phone. It has 1 GB of RAM to back up all that processing power. Don't expect this phone to perform like a flagship phone, but expect it to do a fairly good job. Let's go into the phone and talk about performance. This phone, as you may expect, is very snappy. Most phones that run stock Android are very fast in the OS and don't have any lag whatsoever. While gaming or playing video, you can notice a frame or two being dropped, but nothing you will really notice. I'm not a huge mobile gamer, so the games I play on here are just normal games. They are not that demanding. So this phone handled those games with no problem. I did use this phone to view movies, and that VGA display was not bad at all. I could see everything, the speaker is nice and loud, and everything was pretty nice and watchable. But battery life is where this phone is lacking. The reason I took longer to review this phone was because I wanted to put the battery through a charging cycle to see if it gave me better results. But the battery life never really got better. This phone loses battery even if the display is off. I thought this phone, like the other Verykool phone I reviewed, it was going to hold the battery charge while in standby mode, but it just kept draining it. Sometimes it actually surprised me when it only dropped 1% or 2%, but normally it would drop around 5 to 10% in a short period of time. It was a bit tricky to know when the battery was going to last and when it wasn't. Sometimes when I was watching a video or listening to music, it lasted longer than if I just had it sitting next to me with the display off. So battery life on this phone was very tricky, but it was most certainly not the best. What is also not the best is the camera. The main camera on this phone is an 8-megapixel camera. It can only shoot up to 720p video, and the pictures on it are okay. They don't really have much detail on them. The camera could be much better on this phone, and the front-facing camera on this phone is the same, not the best pictures, but they do a decent job. My experience while using it was pretty good. Don't have many things to complain about it, nor have things that are really good to say. The only negative thing I could say, which may not be a big deal for everyone, is that every time I wanted to take a look at my notifications, it sent me to the dashboard. Every single time. It's just the first attempt. After that, it shows you your notifications. I don't know if it's something I can change, but this is the only thing I can really complain about this phone. Because overall, what you see is what you get. A phone that has enough horsepower to do all your tasks from gaming, email, watch videos, you name it, this phone can do it. Maybe not the fastest, but it will do it eventually. And lastly, I just want to talk about the accessories that came in the box. This phone did not come with the screen shield already on, but it did come with one in the box alongside a microfiber. And they also included some earphones. You are going to need these in order to use a radio, but don't expect them to have very good sound. They will get the job done, and well, what can you expect from some earphones that come in the box? Overall, I think this is a very solid phone. It is a mid-range phone, so if you're looking for top-notch performance and premium parts, you might want to skip this phone. But for a phone with decent parts that is unlocked and with a nice price tag to go along with it, you can't go wrong. The $230 Verykool SL5000, also known as the Quantum, is a win. This phone could be targeted for all those people who want a smartphone but don't necessarily want to spend a lot of money or need the super fast processor. So I think this is a great entry phone for anyone. I really hope you guys enjoyed this review. Be sure to leave me a thumbs up down below and leave me a comment on what you guys think about this phone. Anyways, that was it for me. I was Cars with Wirefly, and I will see you guys in the next video.